welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our Category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders are lined up in yellow, that is our Category 1 riders, in green our Category 2, in blue Category 3 and Category 4 in red. Where you race, how smart you race. Are you sat behind your mirror shades watching everybody with beady hawk-like eyes? Or are you just putting it all out there early on and everybody's then going to wipe the floor with you later because they could read every move you made? It takes a brave man to go early. We've got a kilometre zero attack. We've got to move on the front here because this is not taking it easy from the start. Who is going down the road? Well, it's Michael Knudsen who's gone for this. 9%, 10%, 11% going up. It's going to keep on coming. Who has got the legs for the climb? Who has got the power to wait to take themselves over the top in that front group? Will this selection be even more elite than it is now? Trying to track the back wheel of Mr. X100, who Jassin takes a tight line on the inside. You can just see them diving to the right, steering across proper Belgium gutter racing. Categories 3 and 4. Category 3 still haven't made the junction here, and it's almost like they've backed off a little bit and want to catch them at the right point. He is not far off the back of this group. He can make his way back in. We're on the right-hand run round. We're at 43.8k. We've only got just over 1 kilometre to go.
This is a game of cat and mouse in the last 300 metres. Diduk has gone first. Diduk goes at 12 watts per kilo. He sees that finish line. Can anybody match him? I think Andre Diduk is going to take the win.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's Qualifier Race number 4. It is, if you celebrate Christmas, Christmas Eve. If you celebrate the winter solstice, the days are getting longer in the Northern Hemisphere and shorter in the Southern Hemisphere. My name's Matt Payne. You can catch up with me on social media. Don't forget, give us a follow at Matt Fixer Payne. And joining me in the studio, it is the one and only Emma Martin.
Hello, fantastic to be here for the final qualifier race of December. Cannot wait. Got to wait, get this one done first because I cannot wait for the final because it's on New Year's Eve. But today, before then, qualifier 4 for the men, we head to Australia. We're going to Wollongong. This is a cracking race route. So 45 kilometres, 704 metres of climbing. And look at those 3 category 4 climbs. The Wollongong climb, you go up, you drop down, you go up again. Average gradient 5.1%, but that means nothing. The first kicker goes to 10, the second kicker goes to 17%. And the interesting thing about this race course, Matt, is there is more climbing outside of those 3 category 4 climbs than there is adding those 3 category 4 climbs together.
That's nearly a Tim random stat fact of the day. We have Tim works behind the scenes here at Full Speed Events in the commentary here with us. And he's always full of random stat facts. That is definitely a Tim stat fact. More climbing on the rest of the course put together than there is on all the climbs put together.
If you had a researcher who didn't know stats, you'd have a problem.
You would indeed. Let's see which of our riders have done their research today. 4 categories taking to race starts. 5 minutes between categories 1 and 2. They're in one world at the top of your screen. 5 minutes between categories 2 and 3. They're on the bottom of your screen. They're in 2 separate worlds. As it says on the side of the board, Merry Christmas to the Wahoo LaColle squad with Kevin Horsley in there. The Mighty Ducks are represented by Jeff Rooney and Robert Cronje. The Spinachy team, well, we've got Dario Finati, Fluvio Colambani, and Marcos Brito in there. The Anzacs are represented by 3 riders, usually have 5, so let's see how they manage with 3. Brett McMurtry, Scott Francis, and Stephen Yates. And don't forget, of course, we've got upcycled with Adriana Zanaska, Ian Lloyd in there, and Matteo Pinto with the DS team. So qualifier race number 4. It is a Christmas Eve. It is going to be all about who can get out of here faster than Santa in his red outfit. It's our red outfitted riders. It's category 4 underway, qualifier number 4 for December. It's starting to be takeoff time a flat run out from the pens. And already, Adam
Well,
Dashow is on it.
It's takeoff time in category 4 and up and out of the start pins. They are at 40 kph in the first 200 meters. As Kevin Horsley goes over the top of Adam Treshow, they are continuing to keep this pace high at around 5 watts per kilo because they want this to motor.
They do indeed. I think nobody wants this to hang around today. Everybody knows it's one of the very few flat sections, and it's a big bunch here, isn't it, Emma, in this group? And we've got a really stacked race field.
Yeah, 34 riders on the start sheets in category 4 today. Ola Warren is here, Largo, Ochoa, Mamba, Kalangad, Kaluma, Dadson is in. We've already seen Dadson, as well as all the teams that you talked about earlier. Will Cornish is here, Charles Ford. It is a great, great squad. So 34 riders up and out of the start pen. It's one long stream of red jerseys at the moment. All the riders in one group, but that group is spread across the road. The riders at the front keeping the pace high, still over 4 watts per kilo on the front as finally the pace starts to come off. Well, I said finally the pace starts to come off, but Adriana Zanaska rolled through and was up at around 4 watts per kilo. Now the pace should come off because I know what's coming, even if they don't, and they should know what's coming. They should have recce this course. They should have raced it before, because as they sweep round on this bridge, they take the left, they take the right, and then the road goes up.
Yep, this kicker that is the first hill of the day. Said it before, I'm going to say it again, first hill of the day. Always the hardest, even though it's not necessarily the biggest, and that is definitely true here today in some ways. We do see pressure coming on at the front, and that is when we see riders going off the back. Let's take a look at this now. Very much like you would see in outdoor racing. If you're watching esports, you're watching MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club for the first time. If it's a long, thin line, the pressure is on. Everybody's hiding behind each other in that draft. You will see that group stretch thin. If everybody's taking it easy, it will ball up in a big bunch. As you can see, everybody's out the saddle, kicking over this climb. You see those red chevrons when the riders dive in on the right-hand side. That's when they're diving into their deep reserves of power. They're pushing down the maximum watts. And as they come over, you can see already that one-time big blob, that ball is no longer a ball. Adriana Zanaska leading them over the top. Kevin Horsley on to his wheels. Scott Francis right behind him there. There is a bit of a who's who up there of the key riders. Ola Warren, well, he was on the Christmas ride last night. He was, I think, the one of the fastest riders through the sprint on the Christmas ride on MyWhoosh yesterday evening.
Stretching his legs with an opener session before the Sunday Race Club. We've got one rider off the back of the group now. After that climb, they're up and over and heading into the city. It's a very, I was going to say rolling course, but it's not really rolling. Some of the climbs through the city are short and sharp.
They are, and it's that point that you made, and that random stat fact about it being there being more climbing in the rest of the course than there is actually on the categorized climbs is really important, because it's not just there's more climbing, there's very little actual flat.
Yeah.
In fact, the flat sections, when you can descend off the mountain and coming out the other side. So here we go. The next riders to go will be our Category 3, 5 minutes after Category 4. The Bauhaus Sports Club with Montoya in there. We've got the Italian Espresso team. All 5 riders, all 5 slots filled. Roncalli, Caigula, Montella Manello, Cordrelli and Barlow. We've got the Anzac Wolfpack. And they've got 4 riders in here with Kirk, Montier, Allport and Dadson. And the X-Pro squad, well, they've got 3 in here with Royas, Davia, Sanchez and Rodriguez. This is going to be really interesting, because we start to see more and more of the teams coming in towards the end of the month as people are aware we're coming into our finals, but we've also got a massive, massive race field.
We have indeed. Category 3 in the men's race is always the biggest field in the men's race. 51 riders on the start sheets today. A plethora of blue jerseys down in that start pen as the seconds tick down before they are underway. So out of the start pen go category 3. They are pushing up to pace very quickly as they swing round and onto the road that will take them across the bridge and into the city. So it is indeed a fast start here, and we've got a flyer off the front at the moment. In fact, I think there may well be a problem there in terms of one of those riders, but Geraldo is indeed pushing on there. Geraldo Montoya is pushing at the front. Malice is there as well. So is Roy and Abello and Svart. Mark Dadson is in the mix. So is David Winfield. The pack are all together as they come out and through.
So this big pack of riders making their way out from the start. Take a run through for us, Emma, of the riders in this pack. You said it was the biggest race field, and I highlighted some of the riders who are in teams. But looking through that, I mean, you've got riders like Bart van den Dries in here. Great to see Bart on board and riding on the Sunday Race Club. You've got riders that we've got great experience. We've got well-known names. We've got people who are proven winners.
Well, we have indeed, and just to mention, Trojanowski has gone up this month, so has Clays. So 2 riders from Category 3 progressing to Category 2 this month, but Cadiz is here, Neville Ross is here, Diduch is here, Winfield, Ellos, Dromard, Hoyas, Kochkov is in the mix today. Malice is here, so is Demanuan, Cusimano, Montoya, Gakes, Van den Dries is here as well. So is Nogueira, so is Kopecky, Millerstick, Giuliano, Kalman, Brett Davidson is here. You know, there are some really, really strong riders in this race. Now, that for me is absolutely integral and really shown by our November final last month. The team competition, Italian Espresso, took it from the Gold Grabbers by 5 seconds. Now, bearing in mind that's the top 3 riders' times added together in each of those teams. For that team competition, there was so small amount between those 6 riders. And in fact, the winners, Italian Espresso, had 1st, 4th and 6th overall across the line. The team 2, the Gold Grabbers, 3rd, 5th and 7th. So it just shows you how close that racing is in this Category 3 pack. There just to have been 5 seconds between those 2 teams.
And as they go up onto this climb, you can see how close it is, although there's some serious pressure being applied at the front at the moment. You can see Raggiosa as well as Gakes cut up, the rider who will see them first from Category 4. Looking back, would see a long, thin arrow line. If you could look round those twists and turns, he's still got a substantial distance. But I'll tell you something, the pace that is on here from Raggiosa has started to stretch these riders out. Very, very interesting here as they keep on pushing. So, who is going to take the win today? We will find out as they move through the field. So we can see this pack. They are looking good at the moment. Let's go over the top. Watch the pace, the speed, the distance increase.
Well, I don't know about increase. The speed may be increasing, but the pace has come off because this pack are having a little breather as they go over the top of that first kicker. It really does come quite close to the start line. Not as close as we see on some of the other courses, but close enough to put those heart rates racing. So Category 3 are underway on the right-hand side of your screen. Category 4, there's a big pack on the road as they come into the start of the City Beach Sprint. That is the first of our sprint segments today. There are 300, that's actually quite hard to say, 300-meter sprint segments on this course. That's a good tongue twister, you know. All 3 of which will be timed segments to give us an indication of what is happening in the races. As well as that, there is the sprint competition where points are awarded for the fastest riders through. And as you can see there, beautifully, Joy Kaluma takes the green sprint skin suit in Category 4, setting the fastest sprint time in Cat 4.
He is indeed. Absolutely flying on his way in and through. So Kaluma, the fastest rider on his way through there for the category 4 riders. And that means that Joy Kaluma now is no longer in the red. He's resplendent in a green skin suit. It's not green of envy. That's just what everybody else has. He's nicely bedecked, a bit like a green Christmas tree before it gets its trimmings on.
With the red baubles.
With the red baubles, yep. He's on his way through the, maybe like a little green and red elf, making his way up through the pack. I tell you something, he was flying on that sprint there. He really went for that. And
flying elf.
It was a flying, well, it was in red, it was a flying Santa, but in green, it would maybe be a flying elf. He's only, what I'm trying to say, if Emma doesn't interrupt me with more Christmas connotations, is that what we're seeing is very interesting, because normally riders don't necessarily go for the sprints. There's no prize money. It's all about bragging rights. It's about how you feel. But what I think we're seeing there, Joy Kaluma is an aggressive rider. He's a rider who likes racing to be hard. And he's gone through there, looked to see if he took anybody else with him. If he'd have got 2 or 3 riders go with him at that pace, he may well have pushed on there and just kept squeezing to see what reaction it provoked in the bunch. And it is a really useful tactic to use the sprint as a bit of a disguise about what you're doing and how hard you're pushing. So leaders in the category 3 are on their way up through. Montoya at the moment looking good in this group. You can see, despite that being a 5-minute head start, this group are moving well.
They are.
And I think that average speed that they're pushing on here, I think that's going to help them bring that group back. Now, we do see category 3 catch category 4. When they do that, the riders can draft the riders of the other category. Category 1 and 2 are in their own world, so they can do the same between each other, but categories 2 and 3, 1 and 4 doesn't work that way.
Their own world, not in a metaphorical sense, but in a gaming sense.
It is. We have 2 parallel worlds, 2 parallel universes going on. One for category 3 and 4, and the other parallel universe. Same course, same hills, same terrain. Category 1 and 2, and that means that it allows us to make sure that everybody's going to be able to put in the correct power. The results that's all checked on the way through. A quick reminder, of course, there is a massive rule set that is out there to ensure fair racing. Do please have a look at that. More importantly, make sure you get on board and get racing and riding. Lots of riders out on the ride yesterday on the Christmas ride, quite a number of which are racing here today. Shows it can be done.
Yeah, but quite a number of which who aren't racing here today. So if you want to join the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, head over to mywhoosh.com, click on the events page, click on the Sunday Race Club. You will find all those documents Matt was talking about. You will find out how to get a verification, your technical guide, your rule set. All of the information you need is there. Now is a perfect time to head on over to mywhoosh.com and take a look, because you can join us in January. The December final is on New Year's Day, and then we will be starting again with Qualifier Race number 1 in January. The perfect opportunity to join for 2024. Not that I can believe it is 2024, but it is coming shortly. Now, continuing to push on, we're in with Daniel at the moment, pushing on at the front. Connell, Quadrelli, Roncalli, Justin Roy, all at the front of this group, continuing to keep the pace high and motoring.
I think Connell's got something to live up to today, because we saw a great ride by Helen Connell in the women's race earlier on. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. You need to go back and watch it if you haven't seen it. Why not? Great way to warm up, sit on the turbo and watch the women's race on the way through.
Well, warming up at the moment down on that start line, those green jersey wearing category 2 riders, 40 of them in the pen today.
And we have the riders from the Beast Mode powered by Rose, Fenderick representing. Then Cafe de Colombia have Munoz Geraldo in there. Hubbard, so they bring 3 riders to the party, Oya, Kirchner and Clays. And the riders there who have moved up. Team Tappers represented by Mayer and Von Haren. The Hitmen hit that 3 marker with Winfield, East and Simmons. We've got the Falcons with Altanagi Alramethri and of course, Hamden as well. Wattage Warlocks and Wattage Wizards. Well, the Warlocks have 3 riders here. The Wizards have 4. Gombert, Obitko, El Alami for the Warlocks. We've got Quintero, Gates, Vanhee, and Dont for the Wizards. Remember, it's 3 riders counting the teams. Good time to practice to get those race starts. The team and tactics in. It's time to go. It is the start of Category 2 here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Time to hit those rows. Time to stretch those legs. Let's see if everybody's warmed up and everybody is ready for this. Don't get warmed up correctly. This start is going to hurt because it is quick.
Well, I'll tell you who's not ready for this, Matt, and that is Mendakowicz. Because Mendakowicz, the rider who has won the last 3 races in Category 2, has progressed to Category 1 this week. So still in the start pen, waiting.
So he's not out on the course, and that progression is the key part, isn't it? Well, just let's touch on this before we hit the little climb here.
Yeah.
The progression as you move through from Category 4 to 3 to 2 to 1.
Yep.
Or the regression as you go the other way is all dependent on how you perform on the platform, because it's constantly monitored.
It is, and it's also about the number of riders, etc., because this is about like racing. So racing with other riders who are like you in terms of their level of performance. So this week we've seen, or should I say this month, we've seen Walter Clails come up from Category 3 to Category 2. We've seen Marcin Trojanowski come up from Category 3 to Category 2. And we've seen Mendakowicz move from Category 2 to Category 1. So riders progressing from Cat 2 to Cat 1, but also riders coming up into the category. So riders looking to see what they can do in their new categories. Always interesting to watch.
And we always try and highlight those riders who have come up. We don't necessarily highlight those riders who go back down again. It does happen, but we don't talk about them as much as anything, because you never know why that's happened. There's lots of different things going on in people's lives, and we always like to keep it positive. We'd like to talk about people going up and improving, because that is what the whole of this game is all about. But I have to say, one of those riders who is always improving, Cam Winfield, on the attack. 3 riders going clear on the front here. This is going to be interesting. This is early, Emma.
It is indeed. So riders pushing on here. And as I mentioned, it's a big group, 40 riders in Category 2. Very strong riders as well, and a very, very competitive race field. Whilst Category 3 may be the biggest race field and probably the most competitive, having seen some of the pre-race tactic sheets from the Category 2 squads, the level of detail and planning that goes into these squads racing is phenomenal. And watching it try and play out in terms of who is doing what and what the plan is really, really interesting. And the plan at the moment, obviously, here is to put in a hard attack at the front and see if you can make the group smaller. Now, you can see on that bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we've got 1 green blob off the back and 1 long pack of riders, indicating that this level of pace has caused some consternation in the group. So Quadrelli now on the front pushing. Will the group concertina back together, or will we see a break form? I think we're going to see 1 or 2 riders struggling here. They're going to struggle to get back on, but I'm going to be positive. I'm going to go with your positive theme, Matt. I think we're all going to get back together.
Yes, I would love to be as positive as that. I just don't think it's possible, because the damage that's being done here.
Look at that. Grazer's got, look at that helmet. Absolutely wanting as aero as possible, and he thinks he's on the track.
Yeah.
Look at it. That is really interesting headwear.
It's interesting. I always don't. It's one of my pet peeves is people riding time trial helmets on a road bike. It's wrong.
Well, Phil Graves, if you want to get in touch with Matt and have a debate and discussion on that, please feel free, whilst we take a look at our Category 1 riders down in the start pen.
So here we go. This is Category 1. We have some great teams in here. The Belgian Waffles, represented by Olympian Jason Osborne. We have Payne Toasted, Bjorkland, Walter, and Plantero. Plantero with a great ride last ride. The Coalition squad, well, with Turek, Vujasic, Kaminsky, and Jones. The team pretty much to beat at the moment. They have come in with a bang. MyWhoosh represented by Annie Jacobs, who had a great ride last time out. And of course, we've got the UAE clan, that team, Nuts and Vink, Mr. X100, Popovic, and SS, all representing that UAE clan team. Will they be able to get themselves back up onto the top step before we head to the finals?
Well, that's going to be interesting as the power goes down and away go Category 1. They are out for the final qualifier of December. Now, Vujasic and Kaminsky, 2 riders on form at the moment for the Coalition squad. Vujasic's had 1 win, 1 second and 1 fifth, so he has not been out of the top 5 yet this month. Kaminsky, 1 win and 2 seconds, neither has he.
Wow, it's going to be very interesting to see who can take this on. The Coalition Alpha Joe team really have come in strong here, haven't they, Emma? They are riders who we know can play hard, but this start normally sees us going quick, but not necessarily seeing
this
the
quick.
effects in. No, not this quick. This is a very, very hard kick off the start. We know Johan Noren is more than capable of putting down a lot more than 7 watts per kilo, but this is about making it hard from the start. Have they seen somebody off the back that they want to leave behind?
Oh, I don't know about that, but Johan Noren is also on form at the moment. Let's just remember, this is peak e-seasons form at the moment. We are at mid-season over this period at the time, and the riders, the form levels of these riders is so strong. Johan Noren's had a 4th and a 5th this month. He too is riding really strongly. Jason Osborne is up there. Lionel Vujasic, Pim van Diemen, David Dahn, Michael Kaminsky, SS, Zach Nair, Syed Safrazad, Frank Thompson, Michael Vink, Ollie Jones. They are all putting in stellar performances at the moment, and they all know they do not want the 38 riders that are on the start sheets today to be together.
And there's one rider that you mentioned there that's on our screens right now that everybody needs to be aware of. It's a bit like going swimming and there being a great white shark floating around in the sea with you.
I thought you meant a Michael Phelps.
No, better than that, a Michael Vink. It is the only one and only Michael that you actually need to work.
I think you need to be called Michael to be a good Australasian athlete.
You do. And what I think here is really key, Michael Vink is the man who's made this course his own. This is his key course. This is where we saw the phrase doing a Vink came out of, on the back end of this course, going clear and putting a long attack in. If you're Michael Knudsen, yeah, you're going to try and do a Vink. In fact, he said he tries to do a Vink. But you have got the real McCoy here. This is Michael Vink back with us. Is he back on form? Have you seen that he's on form, that he's flying him, and what have you found out?
So Vink did indeed win qualifier race number 1 when he was with us earlier this month. He did indeed win the final in November. So the last 2 times out, he has indeed taken the win. But, there's always an opportunity for a shake-up,
There isn't. He doesn't always ride absolutely on form, does he?
No, well, not everybody rides on form for 365 days a year.
Don't think anybody
that
does,
would
really.
Be. Well, I'm trying to think what you'd be superhuman if you did. So people have got, riders have got phases to their training, phases to their racing, and bring different things to the table. So you cannot expect someone to come out and perform absolutely at 100% every single time they race.
But the pace here is still hot, isn't it? Even though nobody's dominating, it's still hot. We're still seeing riders going out of the back.
We are indeed.
And they could be on the back of
there. The back. So take a look at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. There's more than one rider distance at the moment, and we're seeing riders have to push really hard, just in 6+ watts per kilo on the back there, trying to get back on. So Hassan Sultan now distance, Alberto Zabata distance. So the riders coming off the back of the group within the first 3 kilometres because of the pushes on the front.
And we're seeing a strong push here. This is the first time, isn't it, Emma? We've got the UAE clan team here with a full team of 5 riders. I don't think we had that last time, did we?
Well, have you seen Michael Knudsen? I don't think I've seen Michael Knudsen. I don't think Michael Knudsen is taken to the start line today. So I'm going to correct you, Matt. I think they've got a team of 4.
Ooh.
Well,
interesting.
Yes, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. It is side Safrazad in the mix here with Jason Osborne, Vidal Mayer, Lionel Vujassin. They are tight-knit group at the moment. You know, those riders now off the back, this pace of this Category 1 group seeming to settle down. So as Category 1 settled down now through the city, Category 2, we've got a push coming on the front from Olivier Simmons, continuing to keep that pace high. Category 3, still a large group, and Category 4 are continuing to roll, but looking like we're starting to see more and more splits. So Category 4 now at 14.1 kilometres. They are down over the first Category 4 Wollongong climb ascent. They have gone up, they have come down the other side. Category 3, well, you can see the polka dot banner signifying the end of the Wollongong climb for the first time, and a large group going over the top together.
No splits in categories 4 or 3.
Well,
it's not 1s and 2s at the front, is it? It's still a big group.
It is still a big group, but there are indeed splits further back down those race fields. What is happening is those front groups are getting smaller rather than individual riders going off the front of the pack. Well, taking a look now at Category 1, we're at 4 kilometres into this race for them. Now, for those viewers who are new to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, Category 4 starts first. 5 minutes later, Category 3 starts. 10 minutes later, Category 2 start in the men's race, and then 5 minutes after Category 2, Category 1 start, which is why you will see Category 1 here. Currently, this is the leading pack in Category 1. They're currently in the 40s on your screen on the right-hand side. You can see there, 39, 40, 41, 42. That's because Category 2 started before them. Now, as the race progresses, Category 1 being faster than Category 2, I was going to say it is normal, but I think I'm going to say it is likely that Category 1 will catch Category 2 and potentially move to being the leading riders on the road. But currently at the moment in this world, Category 2 are the leading riders on the road.
They are indeed, and that is mirrored, of course, in categories 3 and 4 as to go across. So category 1 leaders on your screen from our initial big pack. We have seen 1s and 2s go off the back, including strong riders like Hassan Sultan being a distance. But of course, as we said, lots of riders are not necessarily going to be on form the whole year round. A lot of riders will ride through on a Sunday race club just to make sure that they're getting their rides in on there. Now we're in with Jason Osborne. For those of you who are maybe not long-time viewers, Jason Osborne, a Olympic rower. I think he was a silver medalist in the Olympics. He's a rider who is very, very strong. Actually rides for the De Koenigs squad and the Alpecin squad, and very, very strong rider on the climbs, strong rider on the descents, a great all-rounder, and a rider who for a while was the strongest rider on the platform by a bit of a margin. Now, he has been challenged and deposed in that, and the hot favourite when he is here and on form is Michael Vink. But as Emma has said, he's not unbeatable. He's not invincible. He definitely is a rider who can be beaten. Now, as we go through the start of this sprint segment, this is the opportunity where we're going to see the riders with the City Beach sprint at the moment, where the riders may use this just to stretch their legs. But category 1 of all the categories, in my opinion, the least likely to do the damage on the sprint of their legs by attacking through it, because I think they're all very, very much aware it's eyes on the prize, and that prize is at the end. At the end of the race, it's all about who comes across that finishing line first. The riders at the moment just under 6 kilometres into the 45 kilometres and 704 metres of ascent, and that's not a lot of ascent.
Can we just mention before we move off of Jason Osborne?
Yes.
He was also the esports world champion in 2020.
Yeah, which is, it shows just how good he is. Now, let's just take a quick check across. Jason Osborne is not on our screen at the moment, and that is because he's in that pack, taking it relatively steady compared to Category 2, who are on a flyer. We've seen that they've been aggressive. And Hassan Sultan. Now, we said Hassan Sultan is distanced off the back. So how's he in the top of the sprint? Well, I'll tell you how. Because he is chasing. He's the fastest rider in the timed segment. So he's gone for that sprint. He's got the fastest segment. He's not at the front of the race because it's not first over the line. It's the time through the segment.
And perhaps, you know, we talked about riders having different plans and different strategies and different times of the year. Perhaps Sultan has just decided he wants a sprint session today. So he's coming onto the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club to get a qualified ride for the final and a verified ride for the final next week. And to do that, he's going to ride and he's going to utilise the sprints as training.
And we've also got to, I would think a lot of these riders are now looking forward to October of next year, 2024, soon to be this year.
Gosh, don't say it's 2024 yet.
Not long, because whether you're in categories 4, 3, 2 or 1, a lot of our riders are going to be looking and thinking, right, what do I need to do to improve before I go into those World Championships hosted by MyWhoosh, the UCI World Championships? Well, might be they need to do a sprint session like Hassan Sultan. It might be they need to do a climbing session
like these category 2 riders.
Because they're at it, aren't they? Look at the red on there.
I know. Take a look at the effort coming out from our riders at the moment. This is the first ascent in category 2 of the Wollongong climb, the first of the 3 category 4 climbs for them today. This first kicking, in fact, on the top right hand corner of your screen on that graphic, you can see beautifully how this climb runs. It goes up, it goes down into the dip, and then you climb again. It will top to 10% on this section. It's currently just descending from 9.5%, and it's a big group of riders able to stay together in this category 2 race as they go up here. You can see 1 or 2 riders just starting to get distanced at the back, but they are about to go over the top of the first part of this climb. They will drop down, and the smart riders will be using the momentum to give them a good run into the second section.
And that second section, the first part of it is really steep. It then eases and then it kicks again at the top.
And the kick at the top is so steep.
Yeah, you've 2 steep sections, either end of it, a really nasty profile. I don't know, when the people were designing this course, I know that it's modelled on Wollongong in Australia, but my goodness, I mean, how to make it painful when you've got that kick at the start of the climb and ease and then a kick at the end. It certainly promotes good racing, yes. And we're seeing that here. Frank Thompson and Pim van Dieven keeping the pace high on the front. Nobody wants to let this go at the moment. We're going just over the top of the bridge now. And as we go over the top, you can see the pressure is on. It's Fujasi now starting to rip it up on the front. They are not going to give these riders an easy run into the climb. Remember, that climb starts at 9.7 kilometers. You can just see on the top right-hand side of your screen, that white line. That is the course profile. It travels from right to left from the edge of the screen towards that yellow bar. And that yellow vertical bar is where our riders are at the moment on that descent of just under 1% at the moment. They will travel down into the climb, and they're keeping the pace high. And look at the damage.
I know, we're starting to see riders come off the back here with a real push coming to try and push back on there. So one of the riders who are distanced just making the juncture back to the group. But we've started to see riders, I think now 4 or 5 riders from this category 1 pack have been distanced from this group. So very, very slowly, this group is getting smaller. They are about to run in, though, to the first climb. They've got 1 kilometre now to go until they hit that first category 4 climb today.
And you're an experienced esports racer. I know you've been racing regularly, but you're also a coach. What would you be saying to the riders off the back? They've been distanced. They can't get back on. Do you say chase? Do you say not chase?
Well, really, we've already been talking today about why these riders are here. It really depends upon why they are here. You know, they're here for a qualification ride, then finish the ride. You know, at this point in time, if they've not been able to stay with this pack up to this juncture, they are not going to stay with this pack up and over those climbs. So this is their own race. They are racing and riding for themselves. They are not racing and riding with this group.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's telling, isn't it? If you do get distanced early, you know, I've been there so many times. For me, it's like, They're going quicker than I am. I've not got it in my legs. It can be set early, but it is in their head. It's going to tell whether it's in their legs, because Category 1 approaching the base of the climb. Category 2 have just gone through the polka dot climb, banning the iconic polka dots, and the skin suit going to Olivier Simmons in there. And at the moment, the Category 2 group are continuing to push past.
Big group.
It is, isn't it? But they're pushing, and Spratt knows that from the polka dot banner at the top of the climb that there are 500 meters, I think, if I remember correctly,
and it is,
to the end.
And it is still steep. So once they go underneath that polka dot banner, it still kicks until the very top of the climb. And look at the distance you can put in 500 meters. So Spratt came to the fore at that polka dot banner, while Simmons may well have taken the polka dot jersey. Spratt saw that as the opportunity to attack. Phil Graves has gone with him, so has Wangallo. Those three riders have now put 7 or 8 seconds into the chase group, because the chase group saw the polka dot banner as the finish. Spratt, Graves and Gallo saw the top of the climb as the finish.
And I think this could be really interesting in terms of giving us maybe a heads up of what will happen on the third ascent of the climb, because that's the run into the finish. Remember, that's where we finish, at the top of the climb, the top of Wollongong climb. The climb itself, that yellow banner at the top, not the polka dot banner, and there is a run between the two. Spratt here and Graves, and looks like Quadrelli chasing hard down. Clays, I think, has just been caught. However, now Category 1 riders onto the first part of the first ascent of Wollongong. Part 1, as you can see, top right-hand side, they're at 9.3. We've joined them at a very similar place where we joined our Category 2 riders not all that long ago, as they make their way up over the top. And it looks to me like, again, we're seeing riders being distanced, but these numbers, they are not flat out at the moment. They are not putting in their biggest effort. They're keeping the pace high, but it looks to me like at the moment, as they go over the top with numbers round about the 3.5 to 4 watts per kilo, this is not a big attack. They are winding it up now. Get this momentum right, get this drive down here right, and you will run onto the climb at some speed. The riders behind you using that draft, you can see Lionel Justin just went from front to the back of the group here. Is he going to use the draft as they come on to the climb to then sprint back through the group, or will he be struggling as they come on because the gaps open up? We will find out. Here we go. This is one of those steep sections. Vujasin makes his way right the way back through. He's almost up to the front of that pack. So yo-yoing his way from the front to the back to the front again. This is the start of part 2, climb 1 of Wollongong.
Well, as they continue to tap their way up this mountain, we continue to see these riders' performances. So Ollie Jones now leading this group side. Safrazad is there. Planteur, who took a top 5 last week for the first time, is there as well. That was a fantastic effort from the rider. Van Elst is here. Vujasin SS is doing the marking at the moment. And actually, Zach Nair is also in contention. Now, Nair, just outside the top 5 last week. So again, another strong performance. So we're now starting to see 1 or 2 riders just getting distanced from this Category 1 bunch. And it really has been the story so far today. 1 or 2 riders every now and then getting distanced from this Category 1 bunch. We're now 11.3 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race. It's currently 9.5% under their wheels and going up. It's getting steeper. This is the first ascent of the Wollongong climb.
So they can see the polka dot banner in front of them on this ascent. They know that that is the end of the timed section. It's not the end of the climb down. We saw that in that Category 2 race with Spratt really being the instigator of that action.
And are we going to see an attack here, Matt?
Oh, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. I like attacks. I love it when riders are brave, they're bold, they go for it. I would love to be able to give a combativity prize out every time. I think it should be done. I
well,
really do.
We have 2 more ascents of this Wollongong climb today. So the riders will go up and over this climb again. And then on the final ascent, the finish line is at the top. Now setting the fastest time this time round, Johan Noren, 4 minutes 17 seconds. Vujassin in 2, Van den Eekhout in 3, Van Elst in 4, Jones in 5, Nair in 6, Vink 7th, Osborne 8th, and Mayer in 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is Van Diemen. And look at that, half a second between them.
Nothing. Basically, nothing between them if they're in the front group. But you can see the gaps are starting to open. This is because the top of Wollongong climb is a knife-edge climb. And that really plays into the hands of those riders who push over the top and open a little bit of a gap. A small gap as you go over the top of the summit can quickly open up. The rest of the riders have to chase back down again. And then we have this step and another drop.
And we know momentum is your friend on the MyWhoosh platform. And utilising the early part of the downhill, or the transition between the up and the down, really gets your momentum moving fast. And that really, really is a technique and a skill you need to learn.
And that's why riding the platform is so important. Make sure you get on, jump on board. Download the app. You can do that on iOS, on Windows, on Android. You can use it on your iPhone. You can use it on your PC, on your gaming laptop. It is great to get those graphics up on the screen. We use the PC and we use Apple as well, both in the studio and in our respective pain caves. And I have to say, I absolutely love the PC version of a big gaming laptop. We're lucky enough to be able to access those. And I'll tell you something, if you've got a massive screen, it's really immersive. There are particular places. I think Emma's already highlighted her favourite place today in the women's race when she's riding on MyWhoosh, which is going through the lagoon with the purple edges at the side in Colombia. For me, I actually like some of the desert and the gorged landscapes in Alula around the heritage areas of the climbs. But I also do like, even though I might not like climbing in the big climbs up into the distance, the climbs here are shorter. But I tell you what, it's not cutting down the action, is it, Emma?
It's not at all, because we've got a call come out there for take your turn, take your turn. We've got a split in the group. So the Category 2 pack at the moment split into 2 large groups. We've got Gates, Simmons, Kranich, Von Haren all taking a turn on that front because they do not want that back group to come back together. We've got a large group here in Category 1. They are dropping individual riders. There is not a big split in this racing pack like there is in Category 2.
And I think that's one of the key things here, isn't it? That dependent on how the race goes, that's how the riders have to react. It's all very well having a plan. You might, as Ollie Jones is here, go to the left, attack, 9.5 watts per kilo, steer across, try and break the draft, really hammer on down. We know Jones is going to go for a solo. However, you may not be able to do that because the group behind will respond and keep on coming back.
Interesting move for an attack, Matt.
He's done it on the downhill.
It's an interesting place, isn't it? Because it's the end of the downhill.
But you have this. We know Jones can time trial well. He sits there and time trials well. And the other thing is that you've got this spin round. So you can see the little bump coming up on the top right-hand side if you're new to this. This is known as the Vink overpass or the Vink attack point, because this is where Michael Vink did a Vink. I know we're going on about him a little bit, but this is the course that he really did set his stall out as wanting to go solo. Now, we've got this move coming down here. Pim Van Diemen is chasing it down at the moment, and he's put out some big watts per kilo to go clear. But if they start coming across in 1s and 2s, they will drag that bunch back.
Yeah, they will.
And this move by Jones will be negated, not by a concerted chase by a team, but by just people not wanting to miss the party. It's Christmas time and New Year time. We've got to talk about parties. They don't want to miss the party because they're not on board as it goes round now. Into the turn we go. This is the spiral. We're going to spin round. It climbs up. Watch out for attacks here. Watch out for moves. Everybody's aware of this. You can see the pressure that's on now.
Take a look at the numbers coming out. I've just seen 10 watts per kilo out of Nair at the moment, absolutely wanting to push on. They're going to come past some of the Category 2 riders. They're going to make that catch. So Nair moving to the front, absolutely pushing on. The fireworks and fizz is coming out of the wheels at the moment. This is party season, and this is party on a bike.
Well, it looks to me like the fireworks at the moment have been more like a party popper than a big firework and a big banger. Although it's another drop down here. Saeed Safrazad goes to the front, but he eases off very quickly there. This is a long flat section.
Shutting it down.
He's got to shut it down. You can see in front, I mean, this is not breakaway territory. It's pancake flat. We go down past the pens. We run into that first climb that we hit of the day. It's not a great place to go, Clea. You need to have done it earlier. You need to do a Jones and make it stick.
Well, you know what he's doing? He's stopping them going to the kitchen, because all the best parties are in the kitchen.
Okay. I think there's plenty of, I'm hoping the rider's got plenty of food on board. And there's not going to be a lot of chat, that's for sure.
Well,
now,
Tom Gates has obviously got plenty of fuel on board, because he is pushing on at the front of this Category 3 race at the moment. 23.5 kilometres into their race. They are pushing on and starting to work their way through the back of the Category 4 race field. You can see that really clearly on the bottom left-hand side of the screen, but on the main screen at the moment, it is Tom Gates, and it is all about Tom Gates. Kochkov is pushing. He's the rider doing the chasing at the moment, and they've got between them 5 seconds on the rest of the bunch.
And I think Tom Gates will want some help up there. He'll want the riders to come back. We know Tom Gates, strong Dutch rider. He's a rider who can really put the power down and will look to open up a gap to take away a few riders in the breakaway. Be very interesting to see if he can make this stick and take clear maybe 3 or 4 riders. He's pushed as they've gone over one of those rises, because this is, as we've said, a constantly undulating course. Now, Category 4 going into the start of Wollongong, 4 going chasing behind the Category 4 leaders is a bigger group. Emma?
Well, 2 riders leading that Category 4 race at the moment as they push into the second ascent of the Wollongong climb. 2 kilometres behind them is that leading chase group in the Category 3 race, and that is a huge, huge group. The Category 2 pack, well, they are still some way off of the second climb of the day, and that is not as much of a big gap between Category 1 and Category 2, because this Category 1 group are motoring.
They are, and we keep on seeing 1 or 2 riders behind being distance here. This is really tough stuff today. Kaminsky and Vajasin now on the move. 2 teammates, the coalition squad, not wanting this to stay easy as it comes around this turn. This is the flat section that runs you into that first climb. Those numbers are big. I mean, we are seeing masses going down there, and look behind it, Emma. I mean, that is panic stations. They are in 1s and 2s behind. Nobody's across the road.
Well, I think these guys have gone because they want to see if they can make the climb stick, because they'll sweep round this bend, they'll sweep the left, they'll sweep the right, and then the road will go upwards. Can they make this a group of 6? Can they make this stick? They are going to have to keep the pressure on at the moment, but 1s and 2s are coming over, and as 1s and 2s come over, the rest of the group gets a tow. SS and Vajasin at the front, absolutely hammering this at the moment. But the quality, I'm going to say that again, but the quality of this Category 1 race field is exceptional. We've seen it week in, week out. The sprint finishes, the packs that fight this out to the finish. Well, take a look at that. They have yet again dropped 1 or 2 riders, but the pack is still together.
It is, and as we come up, we're making our way around the side here. One of our Category 2 riders. Kaminsky pushes, but he's not flat out here, but the bunch goes straight over the top. Have we lost riders? Yes. Will they be permanently damaged? We will have to see as we come around. We're now into the town section. If you've ridden on here on the Australian World, you'll know just how tough this circuit. There's no easy circuits around this part of the world. It is always bumpy. It's always rod. It keeps that fluidity in your legs if you're trading, but if you're racing it, my goodness, you've got to be so on the ball because attacks can go pretty much anywhere. So category 1, left-hand side of the screen, right-hand side, that is the category 4 leader. That is Adam Treshow, who's now 22 seconds clear of Scott Francis, 50 seconds from a big bunch of riders behind. He's got the polka dot jersey because he had the fastest time up the climb last time. He is pushing at the moment and has covered a fairly substantial distance of this 45-kilometer course. But as you can see, all of our groups, other than category 4, it looks to me like they are still pretty big packs in the hunt. And category 4, well, they're not that far behind, but it's certainly a reasonable margin as Treshow comes up onto the climb. The category 4 having been racing for 50 minutes, category 3 for 45 minutes, 35 minutes for category 2, and category 1, well, they are bang on 30 minutes of racing. So just watching our 4 categories of rider move up through the course. Treshow on the second part of the climb in Wollongong of the second ascent. The left-hand bottom side of your screen there, category 3 riders, lots of red chevrons going in there because they're on the lower slopes. Categories 2 and 1, a little bit of a gap opening up on category 1 with 2 riders on the front, but at the moment not substantially enough to stick, and that group coming back together. Interesting, we've got a category 2 rider managing to stay with him. That is Jose Oviedo, a very experienced rider on MyWhoosh, jumping in, making the most on the flatter and faster sections of the course of that draft. It's harder to do that, believe me, I've tried, on the uphill sections because that is where that superior power to weight advantage plays out. And that's one of the reasons why being able to see the power to weight ratio, the watts per kilo, it is a key part of esports. Anyone who regularly races on here will tell you it is one of those key numbers that is part of racing, the esports discipline. And it tells you, I could look across if I was racing out on the road and I would know whether I was next to some 6-foot power monster like Matthew van der Poel, or whether I was next to a pocket-sized terrier like Ellie Isabit, who is never going to give up, but is a lighter, smaller rider. And I would adjust my tactics to suit. You can tell that same thing by looking at those numbers, seeing where the riders are using that in conjunction, that information coming in. You don't race in a void, you don't race in a black hole, you're racing against the riders who are in that race. So knowing about those riders is key.
You can tell Matt's been doing his homework and watching his cyclocross, because he will indeed be picking up that UCI World Cup commentary shortly in the new year with the run into the World Championships. But at the moment, well, it's the Esports World Championships I would be thinking about because of the quality of this race field. That is going to be some way off, and these riders are going to have to come back into form for that in October.
We have a World Championships on the Sunday Race Club every week. Let's face it, the class of the riders are so good. And I'm really looking forward to Emma when we run in, and we don't know and we can't tell you. And if we did know, we wouldn't tell you at this moment in time what was happening in the World Championships and how the running is going to be. We can actually plead ignorance down because we don't know, but we do know it's going to be in October. It is going to be absolutely brilliant. We're really looking forward to that. If the championships that we had in 2023 were good, wait till we get into 2024. Hope you're going to stay with us watching on the Sunday Race Club. It's going to be perfect preparation for the World Championships, and I'm sure we're going to see lots of the riders who are going to be out racing the World Championships all the way in the run through 24 as we have in 23.
I agree completely. And that final next week, I think, is going to be a cracker because we'll see the teams come together as well. Now, what a day for a final on the Sunday Race Club, because it is going to be New Year's Eve where that December final hits this year. That's going to be a cracker. And as Matt says, if you want to start watching the talent and you want to start following your favourite riders in the run-up to the Esports World Championships in 2024, look no further than the Sunday Race Club. They are going to be riding and racing with that level of quality because that's what we see week in, week out. Well, currently at the moment, we've got the leader on the road in the category 3-4 race. That is Adam Treshu. We saw him go hard out the gun. Ola Warren now, McMurtry, Francis Horsley, all 40 seconds back.
That's a substantial gap. He's made his way over the second ascent. He's got one more circuit to make. Meanwhile, categories 2 and category 1 are motoring, but still separated by a substantial distance on the road. They have not pulled back that much time in category 1, despite it being aggressive.
Category 2 have been aggressive as well, though, and they have really pushed on.
They have, but what we have to remember, and what is worth bearing in mind, I think, is that whilst it is aggressive, we see spikes. And it's a bit like that hare and tortoise, isn't it? The old analogy. You can see the spike, that super fast bit, and then they take a bit of a rest, and then they go super fast. And actually, sometimes that steady pace will get you to the finishing line first. Because, come on, you remember your Aesop's fable? If you are sprinting through, if you are the super fast sprinter, it doesn't mean that you don't stop and take a nap or you have to rest because you've expended so much energy. And actually, those peaks and troughs are not overall quicker. Now, partly that is borne out of the time differences here on your screen. Carsten May, Jonas Bjarhead, Mohamed El Alami, Pablo Kirchner, all from category 2. Right up in the top 5. SS the fastest. We saw him take that green sprint jersey. He is currently over a second quicker than Lionel Vujassin going through that section. But at the moment, those are times, well, it is quite interesting. 2 seconds actually separating the top 9 there. And when earlier on, we were seeing less than half a second between the top 9. So really interesting to see that difference. SS now resplendent in that green skin suit. We've got Johan Noren in the polka dot skin suit. And it's all about the points, isn't it, Emma?
It is indeed, and that is how those skin suits are allocated. So the polka dot skin suit allocated by points on the climbs, the green skin suit allocated by points on the sprints. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that the sprint jersey is a skin suit, and it is what differentiates it from the category 2 green jersey. So we're in with the category 1 riders, 23.5 kilometers now of this 45-kilometer race complete. The next significant climb they are going to face is the category 4 Wollongong climb for the second time. That comes in, well, just over 2 kilometers.
It does. I'm just watching the numbers on here, and I'm not seeing those big numbers. I know we're in that sort of run in, but they're 3s, they're 4s, they're not 9s and 10s.
We are on a descent at the moment. Now, one of the things that we did talk about at the top of the show is the amount of climbing and the rolling nature of this course between those category 4 climbs. And this course, the terrain is extremely variable throughout the course. There are very, very few. Let me put my teeth back in. There are very, very few flat sections. Unlike Colombia, where the women were earlier today, and head back and take a watch of that because that was a great race, where, you know, for the first pretty much 21 kilometres of that course, it is flat with a few bridges. Here in Wollongong City, it is continually undulating, and there is more climb on this course between the categorised climbs than there is if you add all of the climbs together.
And quite often we would talk about a climb being a climb, and then there'll be a small transition into a flat, then be a long flat section, which would then take you to another transition to the big climb. This, realistically, is just all transition with very little
It's
flat.
a course that just keeps giving.
It does for us because the action keeps on coming. I think it keeps on
indeed.
giving the pain to the riders out there for sure.
However you would like to interpret that phrase, please carry on, because we are now seeing Michael Vink come to the front of this group. Kaminsky immediately marks him, so does Fujasin and Jones. They are not going to let Vink get away, but they are now on the run into the second ascent of the Wollongong City climb. On the right-hand side of your screen at 26.8 kilometres. The Category 2 leaders, they are nearly at the top of the first part of the second ascent. So Category 2 pushing on now. They are over the top and they are dropping down before the main part of this climb. They are still all together. This is a big leading pack in Category 2. Now we saw Spratt and Graves push on last time at the top and form a small gap. That has been brought back together, but Spratt is here, Oyer is here, Quadrelli, Clays, Gates, Von Haren. They are all in the mix here. So is Van Hee, so is Kranich. All the riders from Category 2 we would expect to see, but it's Spratt yet again going to the front of that Category 2 race field, while Category 1 race field just taking a bit of a breath at the moment, a bit of a deep breath, because they are, well, 750 meters away from the bottom of the climb. Deep breath time. This is going to be the second time up the Wollongong climb. Is this going to be a smaller group at the top? Well, only time will tell.
I think it's a pretty good guess to say yes, isn't it?
So how many riders do you think then, Matt, are going to come off this group this time?
Less than however many there are now.
Oh, well, that is just like not answering the question.
It was a proper politician's answer there, wasn't it?
It was shocking. That's
in fact,
what that
well, actually, no,
was.
hang on. If it was politician's answer, they'd be going, yes, but there's been a wonderful investment in the Category 2 racing. And I think we should... No, Category 1. Let's talk seriously about this. I would not... What would I want? I would want to go over here with about 8 riders out of this. I wouldn't want much less than 8 riders at this stage, because I would want to still have a few coming through to the flatter section, flatter, not flat section, on descent. But you've got to get that composition right, and you can't have it your own way, I think. And that's the thing. I think any tactics don't play out well on this course, because I just don't think it allows you to play team tactics as well.
Well, I'll tell you who's having a go, and that is, of course, the UAE clan team, because SS has gone up the road. SS has gone early on the climb. He's pushing hard into it, and he's making those riders chase. Now, ironically, the rider chasing behind is Ruben Dont, a Category 2 rider who they have caught. Now, Dont is a very good Category 2 rider, and we often see him there or thereabouts. In fact, we've seen him he took second place on the outer loop in Australia in qualifier race number 2. So he has been on form this week, but the pace these Category 1 riders are pushing at, I cannot expect Ruben Dont to stay with them for very long. He is hanging in for dear life to try and stay on this group, because he wants them to give him draft up and over and onto the descent. But at the moment, it is SS pushing hard at the front.
He is working well, and remember, of course, SS absolutely not just a very talented and very fast rider, but a rider who knows his platform inside out. He's been riding it for years. He knows how to ride it, and at the moment he's making the most of that. One man who is unlikely to chase him down is Michael Vink, his teammate on that UAE clan team. He would be quite happy to see SS go clear, but SS, of course, now are making everybody else chase in pursuit, and that means that they can't afford to let him go. This is a dangerous move. SS has gone clear. He's got the gap on the descent. He's now going to roll through. Now, the bunch has the advantage on the downhill. They're going to get that draft advantage. They're going to roll on at pace. He has to keep kicking here, because they're going to come up behind him pretty quick. This great shot here. We're a little bit further out from the rider, and this allows us to see the riders behind coming. Going to be very, very interesting to see if they can make the catch, and if they do, is it going to be ones and twos? Jones on his way.
He's leading the charge. So Ollie Jones is leading the charge. Pim van Diemen is there as well. So is Zach Nair, Johan Noren, Safrazad Osborne, Vujasin. They are all now chasing hard, and the rider they are chasing is SS. He's still got 3 seconds. but they are coming. I want to do the Jaws music. Da-da.
Da-da.
Ba-ba.
It is a bit like that, isn't it? They are coming, but I tell you what, they're not coming as one big beastie, are they? They are coming in ones and twos.
It's stretched down the road.
Oh, look at that. I think we've just seen somebody just go, their legs have just fallen off there.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that was like, no, not doing it anymore. And cramp is a very real issue, isn't it? I mean, particularly riding indoors because of the heat and because of it's so hard to remember to keep drinking enough.
Well, you have to.
And I did a ride the other day, and I wasn't going that hard. 2 litres I expended, and I took on 2 bottles. I thought I'd drunk loads, but I actually expended 2 litres of fluid. It's huge, the amount of volume. And if you don't get it, you're going to cramp. Off the back you go, out the race. SS on the front, no problems for him. He's motoring. This is bringing a good group clear here.
Yeah, it is indeed. And hydration is absolutely key. You are right, Matt, particularly in these long races. 45 kilometres, and I'm expecting around a 1 hour 10, 1 hour 9, 1 hour 10 winning time for Category 1 today. Obviously, our other categories will be out even longer. But what we can see now is a long gap between the leading group and the riders who have dropped off. Don has managed to stay in the group that has dropped off, but they are not leading this Category 1 race. This is the group leading the Category 1 race. Jones, SS, Vujasin, they are all in here, and take a look at that. Now, it was over 4 minutes last time up. It's under 4 minutes this time up. Kaminsky, Vujasin, Jones, Osborne, Safrazad, SS, Noren, Vink, Nair, and Van Diemen round out the top. Oh, hold on a minute. Wrong climb. It's not Van Diemen. It's Van den Eckhout who rounds out the top 10. Look at that. It's 4.5 seconds, though, the difference. But, well, they are motoring up that climb this time round.
How many people did I say I wanted at the front? 8. How many are within 2 seconds of the race lead?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh. Hurry up and catch back up, everybody. There's 8 riders on the front.
I love it when that happens. If only I was that good at lottery numbers. So we have 8 riders on the front of the race route. The perfect number according to me, which means absolutely 0 because I can't win races like these guys can. These are the cream of the crop. However, that doesn't mean it's going to stay at that. I think we will see more riders. I hate to say this. We will see more riders joining from behind because that gap was not substantially enough, I think, at the top there to break it. That was the penultimate climb of Wollongong, done and dusted for Category 1, which means that all of our riders have less than 1 lap to the finish line, which is when we get to the top of the climb next time around. Furthest down the road is Adam Treshow.
Yeah.
He's our Category 4 leader at 37 kilometres, at 35.5 now, heading for 36. You can see that our leading group are chasing a solo rider who's just pushing on the front in Category 3 at 31, heading for 32k nearly. Now it is Quadrelli who is leading, going round the Vink overpass, who is chasing Spratt, our race leader, just up in front of him. Then in Category 1, they're on the descent down, heading down into the long run. The descent eases as you go down in Category 1, about to reach that point where it eases off. The gradient disappears. We have the Vink overpass, and then the long run past the Pens into climb number 1 on the circuit. That little kicker that brings us off the coastline and back into town. Treshow already well past that. He's absolutely flying.
Well, it's really interesting. I'm smiling to myself because I've just written on a piece of paper in front of me: Cat 1, 8, Cat 2, 5, Cat 4, 1, signifying the size of the groups. Cat 3, huge.
Yes, that kind of sums it up a bit, really, doesn't it? Yeah, 1, 8, 3, 4, huge. Okay, so we need to remember that the course here is made up. It is essentially 2 and a bit laps, but basically it feels like 3 because all that we miss out is a descent.
That's true.
Off the Wollongong climb. So we have done the first time through the City Beach Sprint, first time at Wollongong climb, second time through City Beach Sprint, second time at Wollongong climb for all of our riders. Now, all the rest of the riders at the moment are actually separate in that gap between the penultimate ascent and the City Beach Sprint. That means that they all now know that to finish they have to go at Wollongong climb. we have got the only flat section, the only easier section is actually from, if you follow the peak down, you drop down into the bottom, there's a little spike on the flatter section. That is the Vink overpass. Then you've got the long stretch past the Pens. It then really starts to ramp up. One key place for me is actually just after the Beach City Sprint, it ascends up. And then at the top of that spike, you've got to drop in towards the main climb. If you are not a superb climber, that is the place you have to go. Because if you haven't gone by then, you're going to get distance on the big climb. However, you're not going to be in this if you're not a great climber.
I'll tell you something here I'm looking at. The rider distance off the back of this group is Michael Kaminsky. Kaminsky is 5 seconds back at the moment. The question is, can he make the catch back to the group? Now, Kaminsky, we know, can climb really well, but there's no point climbing really well if you are not in the group. Now, one of the riders, noticing that Kaminsky is not there, has absolutely pushed on at the front at the moment because, well, they don't want him to catch. And surprise, surprise, it's Michael Vink.
He's on the road that's named after him. He's on the Vink overpass. He's squeezed on. Lionel Vujasin is having to go with them. He won't contribute to this because Vujasin's teammate Kaminsky, they have been really ripping it up for the coalition squad. However, he cannot let this go unanswered. When Michael Vink puts the pressure on those pedals, you better be on his wheel and you better be there quickly because you cannot afford to let him go down the road. But looks to me, Vink was so dominant. Now, less so. Now, we talked about all the reasons why and wherefore, but it doesn't change the fact that at the moment, the riders seem to be containing him a little bit easier. Not easily, but a little bit easier than they did before.
Well, yes, but we know the reasons why, and we know
sorry, Emma, he's gone again.
But I was about to say, but whilst you continue to say about containing Michael Vink is having no containing. He is absolutely pushing on. It's Jason Osborne doing the chasing this time. Vujasin is third wheel. Safrazad, Noren and Jones are there. SS is the rider at the back of the group. Kaminsky, well, he still is not on. He still is fighting to try and get back, but at this pace, with these continual attacks, I don't think Michael Kaminsky is going to see this group again.
And the one thing that is in the favour of all the other riders, other than Michael Vink, is that there are still plenty of riders in the mix. Because whilst Vink attacks, they can take it in turns to come back. Now, danger point approaching, big danger point. We are coming up on a number of riders in Category 2. That means that there's going to be some draft. They could jump in on board. Meanwhile, at the front of Category 2, this is a good-sized group still. I mean, you said it was 5 riders. It's still holding at 5, which happens to equal the number of prizes available. Meanwhile, as the riders go through, on the left of your screen, we have seen an attack. Vink has used this, said it was a danger point. He's used the draft to try and go clear, and another chase by Osborne. But they have got bodies in between now, and this is about, do they push home or do they let the rest of the riders come up? It looks to me like they may well get some assistance here because Jonas Bjarhead, he wants to stay in with this group, as do the rest of these Category 2 riders. It's absolutely non-stop out there on what should be a recovery part. Massive kick down the left-hand side.
The Category 2 riders are not going to be able to stay with this pace because they are continuing to push and continuing to fight for this. And it's Ollie Jones that has gone this time. We saw Jones time trial away from the riders a few weeks ago. He put in a phenomenal kick at the start. We know he can stay away, but I cannot imagine they're going to let him go. But you know what? They are. There is no response coming from behind at the moment. In fact, Osborne is sat on the front of the group. Safrazad is there. They are 3 watts per kilo down. It's SS now who is having to come to the fore to do the chasing because Jones has kicked and got 4 seconds on the group. So SS from the UAE clan team, he is Vink's teammate. He is doing the chasing now, and he will want to bring this back because he will not want Michael Vink to have to work harder than he should on that final climb of the day.
And Ollie Jones, of course, a coalition teammate of Vujasin and Kaminsky. Very quiet up till now. Now he's gone on this section. He's forced the response by SS. Osborne is with him. Vujasin is just going to try and sit in the wheels as much as possible. But I tell you something, that was a good move. Joe's hadn't done too much of that chasing down there, and then he kicked over the top. Osborne is coming. Osborne, he's a lone rider pretty much at the moment.
Yeah, but what I'm loving,
tough.
And it's the teamwork that really makes these races phenomenal. It really, really is. When the teams come together on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, it just creates something special.
It certainly does. Jones on the front gets swept away by SS in that green skin suit. However, he's quickly mopped up as well by all of the riders here as they come through. Vujasin wearing the polka dot skin suit at the moment of the fastest climber. Can he repeat that on the last climb of the day to take the overall victory in the race itself? He's going to have to climb like an absolute demon to get up there. Never mind being an angel like Charlie got. He's got to be a rider who can climb and drop them. He's got to have some serious firepower. Will he be able to do it? It's going to be a big ask. This is very, very close. And I'll tell you what, those Category 2 riders are going to be making life a little bit more difficult for Category 1, in part because you can only see so many riders around you on the right-hand side of the screen when you're watching yourself. You've got 4 above usually and 4 below. That makes it difficult when you've got Category 2 to see where all the rest of the Category 1 riders are.
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm taking a look at the riders just backing off the pace there for a small moment, taking a big deep breath, dropping the heart rates as quickly as possible. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is the leading 5 in the Category 2 race field. They're at 37.2 kilometers. They are still trawling around the city. They are on these rolling slopes at the moment. Now, in this group, Quintero, Quadrelli, Graves, Spratt, and Simmons. Now, Kranich is the rider in no man's land behind them. He's 20 seconds back, but he's got 30 seconds on the chase behind, being led by Von Haren. So 5 riders clear in the Category 2 race field. In the Category 1 race field, it's Michael Vink pushing on the front, Osborne in 2, Vujasin in 3, Jones and Noren now with the SS just looking like they're a little bit further back, having to push on now and rejoin this leading group.
So our leaders, this continual attack and answer is being brought all the way in and through this rolling section. It is non-stop terrain change and gradient change. It's non-stop action in the big group of riders in Category 1 lead group that are mixed in with Category 2 riders. They're on the left of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's your leader on the road overall. This is Adam Treshout. He went off early. He's got a gap on all the rest of the field. He's continued to time trial his way away in Category 4. He is now starting the ascent of Wollongong for the last time. If he can continue this pace, he should go clear to the top. The chase coming from Ola Warren, Kalangard, Francis Cavajal. This is a huge gap. He should make this with some margin, surely.
Yeah, I think we are indeed going to see him push on, and I can't see that chase group catching him. So a phenomenal early break there. No early break in Category 1 at all. We are down to a select group of riders. We've got 7 riders in the leading group in Category 1. We've got 5 riders in the leading group in Category 2. These are the 2 riders on your screen at the moment. And yet another attack is going down the road in Category 1. It's Vink being mocked by Vujasin.
So Michael Vink again trying to get away early before they come into the final climb. Vujasin answering the call. So does Osborne. Safrazad on great form at the moment. He's been riding so strongly into the winter months in the Northern Hemisphere. And he's riding strongly in the Tour of Turkey. He's been looking very, very good all the way through. Absolutely lean and really, really mean when he's been racing. The pictures that we've been seeing of him out in action. And certainly at the moment, very deserving of being in that group. It reflects the form that he's got. However, all these riders absolutely world class. And at the moment, this is some ride, a great ride. Jonas Bjarhed staying in with the group.
Well, one of the things I'm looking at is where the Category 2 riders are up the road. The next group of riders they're going to come across, and it is quite a big group, you know, around 400 metres up the road. So this is going to start to get interesting, because in the latter stage of this Category 1 race, they are going to start to come up onto groups, small groups of Category 2 riders. And as we can see from BR Head, they're going to want to try and stay in. So Category 1 catching Category 2 race field, Category 3 race field, still that large group, but they are now on the final slopes of that mountain. So they're going up the Wollongong climb now for the last time, and they're going to see that checkered flag 500 meters after the polka dot banner to signify the end of the climb segment. Category 1 at 38.3 kilometers. They still have some way to go because that climb starts at 42.9k.
So those final slopes are waiting our riders. We're going to see, I'm sure, attack after attack on the way in. And Michael Vink is living up to that 9.3 watts per kilo at peak as he went off there. However, the pursuit is coming. I'm seeing tens now. We're going into double digits as these riders really mean business in the chase. Down. Vujasin is not letting this go. SS is going to see who he needs to mark. They won't want to give numerical advantage to any of the other teams. Remember, Vujasin along with Jones right up in the mix here at the front for the coalition squad. For the UAE clan team, you've got SS, you've got Vink in there. This is going to be very interesting to see the times as they come through. 7 riders from Category 1 have gone through that segment. And SS the fastest through there with Safrazad, but that is all about that chase back of Vink up at the front. He had the slowest time because he kicked before we came in. Really interesting behind to see that the times are not that much difference for the leaders in Category 2 as well, showing just how hard that race is.
Well, hold on a minute. Those are not the leaders in Category 2. Those are the chasers in Category 2. So this is becoming really interesting in the latter 5 kilometers of this race. Now, on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see Adam Treshow. He is at 44.3 kilometers. He's got 700 meters to go, 700 meters of climbing until he gets to the top of that climb and sees the checkered flag. He's leading that Category 4 race from Horsley, who is the rider behind. Category 3, they are now coming to the final slope of the Wollongong climb for the last time. I don't think they're going to catch the Category 4 leader, but there is a frantic race going on there because that is a big group going into the bottom. An attack from Milostic, from Mountier, from Elos at the moment in that race, but Cusimano and the rest have not given up yet. That is a fight going on the climbs in Category 3.
And look at that, Malice in 3, the polka dot jersey wearer, showing he was the fastest rider up the climb last time, is trying to pull back Milostic. This is really tough stuff in Category 3. On the left of your screen, Category 4, our solo leader, is going to hit this marker. It's going to be 200 meters to go to the finish as he hits the line here. As he comes in and through. Very interesting to see that he is out of the saddle here. Those revs are down. The pedal cadence down at about 59.60. He's really churning a big gear. Milostic in comparison, 88 revs per minute. Very, very tough stuff. So Treshow comes up over on towards the top. He's making his way, looking clear and looking good. He sits down, he stands up. This is going to be hurting. He's put so much in on the run into the line behind. The battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th place is going to be absolutely a bum fight on the way in. That is going to be a real nasty one because there are a lot of people left in contention and they are all riders that we know can fight for position. But coming up towards the top, you can see the UCI banner. It's that white banner. It says Merry Christmas. It says Happy New Year. Well, the best present you can have is a win. It's a win for Adam Treshow on qualifier number 4 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Ho, ho, ho. He made it go, go, go.
Well, he did indeed, and the race is on behind for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Those Category 4 riders, you can see them up ahead. This is the leader in the Category 3 race. Milostic at the moment pushing on. 15 seconds he has put onto that pack who went into the bottom of the climb together. It's Elos who's doing the chasing with Mountier, with Malice. They are still one group chasing behind. but he has gone clear and he is out the other side of the climbing segment. That gives him less than 200 meters to go.
And just in front of him, you can see that you've got Warren, you've got Horsley at the moment chasing to the line with Columbari in the Category 4 race. So Treshow taking the win in Category 4, the first rider in across the line. Second rider across the line should be Ola Warren, a rider who was taking the sprints in the Christmas ride yesterday. Then it is going to be all about this run for the line. Well, Horsley comes in third place in Category 4. In Category 3, the winner is Melostic. What a ride by him, kicking over the top. He saved the best till the last descent to take that win. He comes through and over the line. Great ride by him in Category 3. Our Category 2 and Category 1 riders are on the way in to the climb. In fact, Category 2 leaders are on the climb now already. So Simeons, Quadrelli, Quintero, Spratt, Krasnich, all in action, but it looks to me like Krasnich is the rider who has been distanced, and the 5 riders in front who were in front have stayed clear. That gap's not huge, though, I mean, it's only 16 seconds back to Krasnich.
I'm quite impressed about how Krasnich has been able to maintain and hold that gap. He's not lost any time. Von Haren leading the chase behind now, over a minute to that group. But James Krasnich, 18 seconds only. You know, there's some slipping room there for one of these 5 riders not to take a podium position. So Quadrelli, Graves, Quintero, Spratt and Simeons, well, they are the 5 riders, and it's Filippo Quadrelli. Now we know Quadrelli can climb. He is leading the group in Category 1. It's Vink under the banner. Vink takes them underneath that polka dot banner and on to the final climb first.
Quickly closed down there by Johan Noren. Safazad, Osborne, Vujasin are there as well. As over the top goes Jones. They're going to drag in some of the Category 2 riders with them. Michael Vink has dropped to the back of the pack with the momentum coming through there by the riders in front, currently being led by Ollie Jones.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, I think he did. You could almost feel it coming out of the screens here. Ollie Jones now pushes on the front. 7.5, nearly 8 watts per kilo here. Coming from Jones. Safazad is right with him, but look at the red chevrons coming out behind. Osborne, SS, Vujasin, Noren. Vujasin in that polka dot skin suit. You've got SS in the green skin suit, making them very easy to recognise. Ollie Jones, blue cap on the yellow jersey there. Michael Vink has a white hat on, and Vink at the moment just sat on the back of this group. Now, this is going to be about timing, it's going to be about effort, and it's going to be about momentum through the dip between step 1 and 2, because this group, despite their best efforts, they have been throwing blows at each other all the way through. But at the moment, this is going to go the full 15 rounds and right the way on to the very last minutes, the very last meters of this race, because we are now at 43.6k covered of 45 kilometers.
The question here really is who wants this most, because they do not have far to go. 1.3 kilometers of climbing left. It's Vujasin and Noren at the front now. Lionel Vujasin, he missed out by I don't know how many fractions, and it really was fractions of a second in the sprint last week. He got rolled literally on the line, but Noren is pushing on. So is Safrazad. There's not one of these riders not capable of winning this race.
Category 1 on the left-hand side, hit the bottom of the slopes. Top right-hand side, you can see that the riders, the lead of Category 2 have split, because we've got Graves and Spratt with a 3-second gap to Quintero, 7 seconds to Quadrelli, and 12 seconds to Simeons. It has broken apart. The 5 have become 2 at the front. Spratt and Graves, the old adversaries, the old teammates, now battling it out for the win. Meanwhile, left-hand side, Category 1 is exploding across the slopes.
It is indeed. And we're watching Ollie Jones pushing on in Category 1 as we're seeing Nicholas Spratt. Oh, he's nearly breaking Phil Graves, but Graves is digging deep and he's going again as they can see the polka dot banner signifying 200 meters to the finish line. They've got 8 seconds on Quintero and Quadrelli behind. Olivier Simmons is now broken at 15 seconds back, but it is Graves and Spratt man on man as they tap up this mountain.
Well, Graves will be regretting that heavier aerodynamic time trial helmet now on his head. No style marks. Can he take the win? If he can't do it in the fashion, can he do it in the race for the line? Spratt and Graves are going to be battling this out all the way in, and Quintero is not out of this. If he came at pace, the rest of the riders would be in trouble. But look at this kick coming now from Nicholas Spratt. Nearly 11. He's over 11 watts per kilo, and Graves has got to answer this. Has Graves got anything left? Has he paid the price for his fashion choices? He's going to. This is surely going to be Nicholas Spratt's day today. He got the timing right. Your Category 2 winner. It's Nicholas Spratt in the final qualifier for December. It's going to be Phil Graves in 2. Filippo Quadrelli is going to come up. He is going to take 3rd place in Category 2, and the kick has come from Lionel Vujassin in Category 1. He's opened a gap on the riders. Is it going to be enough? It's looking good at the moment. Vujassin has got a slight gap, 1 second back to SSS. He's in on his heels.
Jones's kick. Look at Jones, over 11.5 watts per kilo.
He's going to come in. It is going to be the kick there by Vujassin. Vujassin takes the win. Lionel Vujassin in 1. It's SS in 2. Who's going to get 3? Is it Jones with that kick? It is going to be Safrazad who pips him on the line, separated by 0.01 of a second. No, sorry, 0.01 of a second. That is a what? 100th of a second separating Safrazad and Jones. That is how tight it is. What a gap. Nothing to speak of. Michael Vink, after all those attacks, it is going to come to nothing. He's out of the prize money. He's out of the top 5. He is going to be spitting feathers.
Well, I tell you something, his legs are going to hurt. Attack after attack after attack. Well, it was Lionel Vujassin's day. He has been the rider on form over the last 3 weeks. It's the 2nd win in 3 weeks. It was a 2nd place last week on the sprint for the line, but Lionel Vujassin, 1 hour, 9 minutes and 10 seconds.
And that Coalition Alpha Joel team setting it down this month in December. Can they continue it as we go into the finals? The SS-led UAE clan team, well, they got 2nd place here today. They have yet to see their 2nd rider hit the finish. Will they come back with a bang as we go into the last race of 2023? So Vujassin, SS, Safrazad, Jones, Osborne, Noren and Vink, the top 7 so far in and across the line. The winning time, 1 hour, 9 minutes, 10 seconds. Coming in with the kick, Lionel Vujassin does it again. What a fantastic set of qualifying races here on MyWhoosh on the Sunday Race Club in December. It's been a real pleasure putting words to the action in our qualifiers. I am absolutely gagging for our finals. I cannot wait until we hit the finals when we have our team competition as well with that big team prize.
Well, we're going to have to wait till the last day of 2023 to find out who takes it in the finals this month.
So it's been great having Emma here for our qualifiers. She'll be back with me when we come in for our finals, for our final kilometres of the final race of the final day of 2023. Don't forget, we want you to get in touch with MyWhoosh at MyWhoosh on social media. We want you to get in touch with Emma. It is at
Biking Emma.
And you can get in touch with me at Matt Fixer Payne. But a massive thank you for watching. A massive thank you to our riders for putting it all out there in qualifier race number 4. A huge thank you to the team behind the scenes who make the game happen. Of course, bring us the amazing pictures and make it possible for us to put words to the action. But from Emma and myself, Matt Payne, please stay safe. We'll see you again next week.
Goodbye.